I am such an idiot. I thought I was recording all that time. Oh my gosh. Anyways, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys all that viewed my video last week and commented. I appreciate you guys for taking the time. I have a story this week, a story time. So basically, it's something that has to do with recent events. I mean, a lot has happened since I last, really been on here. I mean, I know last week I uploaded a video, but I mean, since I've last talked to you guys and, everything, a lot has happened with health-wise, just life in general. But, this particular story I want to share with you guys is, well, it started when I went to a doctor's appointment and I was having trouble breathing. I wanted them to give me a asthma pump or something. I just felt like I couldn't get a full breath. And so they did some tests and everything, and the doctor is like, well, it sounds like it could possibly be bronchitis, and so I'm thinking, I don't know about you guys, but I hate when doctors say it may be or it sounds like. I feel like you paid that much money to go to school, you should know what it is, and it should be a definite, you know what it is, and not you guessing. But I guess that's how it works. They make their diagnosis through observation and all that, and just trying to figure out what are your main symptoms and stuff. But I just feel like I hate when they say I think, or not. They never say I think, but they'll say I suppose it's, or it sounds like, or maybe possibly. And I'm like, I need you to know. I didn't go to school, you did, so I need you to know. But anyways, so yeah, they end up giving me some steroids to open up my chest to help me breathe, and what do you call it? The little pump, the asthma pump, the Adderall or something like that. I forget what it's called. But anyways, they gave me that. So I'm thinking I'm fine. They even gave me a breathing treatment there. And so I go home, taking the steroids, taking the Adderall, whatever it's called, and going about my life. Now, mind you, my eating habit wasn't the best. I was, I had started driving again, and so I would go to work, and sometimes I'd be so tired to go home and cook and stuff, so I would go through a drive-through. And then so I was noticing I was struggling in certain areas, to even simply put on my shoes or put on my clothes or take a shower. I would dread to go to the shower, and really honestly, that whole thing, not really knowing what was going on with me, had put me in a deep depression. And it was for 3 months I was in a deep depression because I was gaining all this weight, and I didn't understand. I understood that I was eating bad, but I was to this extent, how did I get here, And I had been really, really overweight before, where I couldn't do those things, and I was thinking to myself, how did I get to this point again? And so I'm going on and on. It's getting to the point where, embarrassing as it is, I admit it was getting to the point where I couldn't even get in my car. I struggled to get in my car. There was this one time I had got off of work, and I had to take off the, what do you call those things you put on your car? The wheel locker, some lock on your wheel or whatever. But anyways, I had to take that out, and I mind you, I was struggling to get in my car. So somehow, the whole thing came apart, and I dropped half of it on the ground. And I'm like, man, I have to get out the car again. This is so embarrassing. But I couldn't, so I had to wait till my boss came to his car, because his car had so happily, it was right next to mine's. And so I had to wait till he came, and I had to ask him that favor, to get it for me. It was so embarrassing. I'm oh my gosh. And so I started to try to eat better. and just like, you know, hopefully lose some weight to at least get to the point where I can physically do things for myself. And so, if I go into detail, like I really don't want to make this a long video, but if I go into detail of how it really was that 3 months of going through this, like, I'm not going to go into too much because it will be a very long video. But let me just say, like, there were times when I didn't make it to the bathroom on time because I had trouble getting up. There were times when I didn't, I couldn't get, like, I was being late for work almost every day because it took me so long to get dressed just because I didn't have the energy. And all this time, like, I'm not knowing what's going on with my body. Like, obviously, yes, I gained weight, but it was more than that. Like, my body felt like it was more than that what was going on with me. And so anyways, long story short, I basically end up, everything happens for a reason. I just say that. Everything happens for a reason. I end up losing my apartment because I wasn't getting that many hours at work. And I ended up living with some friends, but it didn't work out there. And I went somewhere else, didn't work out there. And I think it was more so because people, you know, not that they didn't have the heart to help me out or whatever. I just think that people get overwhelmed. They have their own problems and they get overwhelmed not knowing what's wrong with you and not knowing, like, you looking like you about to die. Like, they get nervous, and I understand that. And so, so basically, long story short, whenever I keep saying long story short, it ain't short, y'all, it ain't short. But I'm trying to not make it too long. But anyways, so like, I ended up going to my mom's house. And before I went to my mom's house, I was at my sister's house. And I hit my leg on the side of her bed. And I was bleeding, but I noticed, like, I couldn't really look at my leg because, mind you, like, I was big as a house. And so, but I felt like the blood was, like, really thin. It was running instead of, like, sliding down slowly like how blood is. Blood doesn't, like, run quickly. So it felt more watery going down my legs. And so I was like, that's so weird. And so I didn't do anything about it that day, you know, no more than what I could do, because, you know, my sister was upset with me about some stuff. She felt like I wasn't really trying to lose weight, and I felt like it was more than about losing weight. It was more about, like, there was some issues going on inside of me that I didn't understand, and I didn't know what to do. And so she only was acting out of fear for my life, but she didn't understand really what I was going through, and I don't fault her for it. But so, like, you know, me and her kind of fell out a little bit. But so I ended up going to my mom's house, and my mom was like, you know, you need to go to the hospital because you know you're diabetic. You need to go to the hospital. And even my friend was there, and she was saying, like, I don't know where she got her diagnosis from, but she was like, oh, I forgot to tell you guys, it was not only blood coming out of my leg, but it was water as well. Mind you, I was swollen in my feet. I was even swollen, like, under my arms. Like, the fat under my arms was so hard. My stomach was hard. My breast was big and heavy and hard. Everything was hard on me. And that's how I knew, like, it was more than just weight gain. I was like, because I've been this size before just weight itself. And yeah, it was still hard, but it was, like, hard in a way, like, physically hard. But it was not hard, like touching me. You could feel, like, the hardness and the firmness on my body. And it was crazy. So I know this was different. And so, so anyways, she had the diagnosis, my friend, that, you know, you might get a stroke if you don't go and get this checked out. That's a sign of stroke. So that was enough to scare me. And so I ended up going to the hospital. And I went in the hospital. I told them, I explained to them thank God they admitted me, because sometimes, you know, the hospitals, they be so overwhelmed with so many patients, like the cases that don't seem that serious to them, like they seriously rush you out. And I wish like they would do a lot better with that situation, because sometimes like I've been sent out, and that's how I end up like in my situation where, you know, I'm swollen and you send me home and I'm thinking I'm fine. You're not making a big deal about it, so I'm not making a big deal about it, but really it is a serious situation that I was going through, and I was sent home from other doctors. But thank God this particular time, like, they admitted me, and all I can say is I went in that Friday night. I didn't wake up till Monday morning, and it was crazy because, like, I don't know if it was a dream or if it actually happened, or if it was like a brain wave going on inside of me, but it was just like I kept waking up asking what happened, and the doctors were and the nurses were like so calm and just saying, oh, da 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 da, like this happened, but the same thing kept repeating, and I'm like, I'm feeling like it's a bad dream or something. And so finally I woke completely up, and I have this ventilator in my throat, and I couldn't talk, and I couldn't breathe. Like, it was supposed to help me breathe, but me not knowing what it's for, like, I'm like tripping out, like I spazzed out. I was so angry. I'm not gonna lie, I was so angry. I was like, I finally remember why I came to the doctor, and so that really made me even more mad. I'm like, I came here for my leg. My leg was bleeding water and blood. What does this ventilator, I didn't know that was what it was called at the time, but what does this thing in my throat have to do with anything? Like, I thought they was playing me. Like, I was so, like, paranoid about everything. I thought they was using me as a guinea pig. Like, that was just like all these crazy thoughts. I mean, it was so bad. The nurses, like, didn't even want to go in there and help me, because, like, for somebody that didn't even, couldn't even talk, like, I got my point across, and it was, like, coming off very rude, and, like, it got to the point where they gave me, like, paper and pen to write, but before they gave me even the paper and pen to write, like, I was still letting them know. I don't know how I was doing it, but it did not go well for me, because my attitude was like causing these people not to want to go in the room with me. And so I remember, like, a little bit before all this happened, I remember just like praying, and I remember, like, I felt like God was telling me that you think your anger is your strength, but it's really your weakness. And what I believe God was telling me was that, you know, you try to come off like all that you're bad and hard, and you'll correct somebody in a minute. You'll put somebody in their place in a minute. But what is that getting you? It's actually shows weakness, because nobody wants to help you after that. And so I have remembered that while I was in there, and I just, you know, I repented and asked God to forgive me, and that He will give me favor with these nurses again, because, like, they was, like, not having it. Like, I heard, like, they was talking about me so badly, the stuff that they were saying. They were saying so many bad things about me, and they heard it, but then I couldn't get mad, because at the same time, like, I was rude to them and stuff. And yeah, I'm sure I could have reported them. I'm sure I could have sued them, because that was not professional on their part. But at the same time, I was just like, I was humbling myself, because I knew the reason why they was feeling the way they was feeling. So after I humbled myself, like, you know, a few of them came around. Some of them still was like having an attitude, but I couldn't do nothing about that. The damage was done. And so I come to find out that I end up having a heart failure. They said that I had a congestive heart failure, that my right heart was beating the right side of my heart. I don't have two hearts. The right side of my heart was beating slower than the left side of my heart. So I had a congestive heart failure, and then also they said that I was struggling sleeping because I have sleep apnea. So they said I was struggling to sleep, and they had to put me in an induced coma to calm me down, and they had to put the ventilator in order to help me breathe. So once I found that out, and I considered the fact that they saved me and they kept me from dying, then I calmed down and was appreciative. But at first, I ain't gonna lie, like, I was like, y'all is using me as a guinea pig, and I am not happy about this. But thank God, you know, they did what they thought was best at the time, and they saved me. So thank God it worked out. And it just, through that whole experience, it just made me realize how short life is and how important life is, how important people are in your life. And I realized that, you know, I felt so stupid afterwards to not, to have been that depressed, and not even, like, I got to the point where I wasn't even, like, doing my hair. I wasn't even brushing my teeth. I barely, like, wanted to take a bath and everything. And it was bad. It was really bad those 3 months. And it's sad, like, a situation like that, I had to